Alright, good morning vlog. It is a few minutes to 9. I'm walking to my meeting point for my first experience of the day. It's another long day trip followed by my vegan dining experience, which is going to be right after. I don't think I'm going to have time to go back to my accommodations to change, shower in between either. That's very unfortunate because as we know from yesterday, it was very hot and sweaty. So this is the vibe and I'm trying to walk as quick as I can. Okay, 4 minutes away. Luckily it's just walking straight down this road. Look at the streets. All right, we're almost there. This is definitely one thing that I like about anywhere in Europe for the most part. You can just wake up, catch the metro or walk or bike if you want to bike to your destination. You don't need a car. I don't know what life is without a car in the States, and I definitely have to do some souvenir shopping because I haven't had any opportunity being on all of these experiences. I need to hop into a store. Okay, so here it is. Let's find the front of this theater. I believe this is the van right here. This looks like it. Theater, 9-person van. Alright, I found the correct van. Here we go.
Sintra. It's gonna take us around 30 minutes to get there. And when we get there, we'll take a little walk on the little historical town of Sintra. We'll start on the top of it. It's a small town, and we'll start on the top of it, and then we will go down. We will stop in a pastry, and you guys will try some traditional pastries, and then I'm going to take you to the National Palace of Sintra, also known as the Villa Palace. I will tell you the history about the palace, and then I will let you get inside of the palace. After that, I'm going to take you to lunch in a restaurant up on a beach. After that, I'm taking you to the most western point in continental Europe, called the Cape of Folk. And after that point, I'm taking you to Cascais, so that you can spend a little time walking around the old town and go to the beaches a little bit. Is that okay with you guys?
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect, even better.
Wow, what's all these vendors? Is it on a certain day?
Normally they do it on weekends.
Oh.
Yeah, they used to be here. They normally are here on Saturdays and Sundays. But the last few days they've been here almost every day.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So if you want, come check it. I know that after Bellum you have a place called Algés. And after Algés you have another place called Da Fundo. Passo de Arcos. So I'm not recognizing that name, so it might... Portuguese word of cheese, which means queijo, and it's made with goat cheese, cinnamon, almond, eggs, flour and bread. And there's another one called travesseiro, which means pillow, and it's made with puff pastry, egg custard and sugar and almond paste on the inside, and a little bit of sugar on top. And those are the two main pastries of Sintra. This is a typical weather here in Sintra. even in the summer, it's very typical. And this is one of the reasons why in Sintra, it's possible to grow a lot of different trees and flowers from all over the world, because we have some dry weathers, but we also have a lot of humid weathers, like this one. See, in Lisbon it was sun, and here it's foggy, and it's because of the currents that we get that come from the ocean, which are cold currents, and the currents coming from the mainland, which are warm currents, and they basically mash up together here in the hills of Sintra. The hills of Sintra make like a barrier. They mash up together and create like a greenhouse effect, which is basically like this.
Yeah, it does remind me of San Francisco a bit.
Yeah, the weather's a little bit like San Francisco.
Also likewise, it's like some areas.
Okay, we are in the heart of Sintra. Take a look at the weather. It's a little drizzly. I don't mind this because I'd rather have this weather than sweating in the hot sun. So we'll see how the day goes and what we get to see without Pina Palace. This is the vibe of the street early in the morning. Drizzle here. I hope we have some opportunity to shop as well.
Influence, okay? So these pebbles, and basically that road goes behind this house and then behind that warehouse and starts to go down, and then reaches the other points of the town. So as you can see, you will see that it is quite small. Okay, so this is one of the best views for the National Palace, which is that huge palace right there. There's another view which is between that red house and this lighthouse, but it's in the middle of the road, so it's not very safe. A lot of cars pass by, so it's not very safe. Brought you here for two reasons. First of all, to take a look at the palace, because that's the National Palace, the palace that you guys are going to visit. And second of all, just to tell you and show you that Sintra, it's part of the UNESCO heritage. And when he was here, he actually got a weather like this, with a lot of fog. And he basically fell in love with this place. That it was mystical, magical, the fort with all of the fog made it more mysterious. And so he started to write a lot of poems about Sintra. When he went back to England, he started to spread out those poems. And people start to read them and to talk about which town is this that Lord Byron is so highly speaking of. And so people started to investigate, and they actually discovered it was Sintra. And so when they discovered it was Sintra, they started to come here. So basically Lord Byron was our marketing back then. He was the one that put Sintra in the map for a lot of tourists to come here and start to visit Sintra. The pastry that you are going to try the pastry. The pastry.
Yeah.
Okay, so it actually has a funny story behind. Many of you know parakeet, the small parrot. Okay, and it was owned by a woman named Constanza Gomez, and she bought this place in 1862, which back then it was a huge thing, because in 1862 a woman having her own business, it was something quite remarkable. But why was she able to have her own business? Because she was actually the official pastry maker of the National Palace, and she used to bake a lot of bakeries for the king. And there was one pastry that she used to do just for the king. So it was a royal pastry, and it's called queijada. It's like a small tart, the one made with cheese. She used to do that, to bake that just for the king. Eventually the king started to say to her that she should show these pastries to the people. The people had to dance them. He would always call her by parakeet, because he said that she looked like a parakeet. She was tiny and had a face of a parakeet. So I don't know if it was like a lovable name. It's a good picture. You want to like the unboxing?
Yes.
Okay, so
Let's do slow-mo after.
Exactly.
Whoa.
I can do slow-mo right now, and then
You speed it up.
Wow.
the ones that were made specifically for the king. So these were seen as the royals, and then these were the ones that she created afterwards, but they were the ones that gave famous to the pirikita pastry. So go ahead. It's one for each, so take whatever you want to try first. It's up to you. This is more sweet, way more sweet than this one.
Okay.
Okay?
And what are they called again?
These are called queijadas, made with fresh cheese, cinnamon, almonds, bread, flour and eggs. And this one is puff pastry with egg custard, sugar and almond paste on the inside and sugar on top. Okay, so guys, so remember that I told you that the Moors stayed here from the 8th century all the way up to the 12th century, right, to the end of the 12th century. And while they were here, there was one thing that they would speak highly of about this place, which is hunting. They said that the hills here in Sintra were very, very good for hunting purposes. We had a lot of deer, for the word. And so he actually approached some of the Moorish people that were living here in the town, because there were some Moors after they were expelled. There were some Moors that actually stayed here. The king realized that they were no threat, so they were allowed to stay here. The king should have something big. Okay, a small palace wasn't good enough for a huge king as him, so he wanted to enlarge it. And actually, because he also wanted to spend more time here, do a lot of events and invite a lot of people from the town, and they would gather all in there. But that was also the place where he would receive nobles and commoners. Why is that? Because that style that you see, it's the unique style here in Portugal known as the Manuelan style, named after him. He was the Manuel king, so he created the Manuelan style. And the Manuelan style, it's an honor to the navy discoveries of India and Brazil. We discovered the navy route to India and we discovered the navy route to Brazil. And with those two discoveries, Portugal actually became one of the biggest countries in the world, one of the biggest powers in the world. And when we come back, that played like this until the beginnings of the 20th century, when the monarchy in Portugal got abolished. To be more precise, 1910. Okay? The inside, it will take you around 1 hour. They've used to do here. You might be thinking right now, okay, so but how did these houses start to appear here? Actually, because of the nobles. When the king started to come here, I like to see the nobles back then as their groupies, because every time the royals would go to a place, then you would see a lot of nobles going after them. They wanted to be part of their lives. They wanted to do everything that they would do.